everyone. Welcome to, oh wait, we're not live yet. Exactly.
Yes, we are. We're good. We're live.
No, I mean, it's saying, oh, maybe we are. You're right. Technology. Thank you, Sonia. Hey, everyone. This is Shay Moraga, Shay's Warriors Life After Cancer. And we are live. Yes. Happy 2022, everyone. Welcome. Tonight, we have such a great educational and inspirational speaker and event for you. Shay's Warriors is a 501c3 nonprofit with an all-volunteer board of directors. Our mission is to inspire, inform, and empower in survivorship their families and their friends through the health, the mind, the body, connection, and also fitness and health. So that's a big hint on what we're starting the year out with tonight. Talk, Listen, and Share is a way for our survivors and thrivers to have real conversations around topics to help educate with emotional, physical, and social realities that have become part of the survivor's life after treatment is over and the new normal begins. I'm Shay Moraga, the founder of Shay's Warriors, here with Dr. Sonia Fung and special guest speaker.
Hello, everyone. So tonight, we have a very special speaker joining us from the East Coast, actually. So she is 3 hours ahead of us and has graciously joined us at this late hour for her. I have the pleasure and honor to introduce Stacy Roberts Davis. She is a registered dietitian and owner of Flavorful Nutrition LLC. Her information is found in our chat box, so you can get to her website and her Instagram account from there. Stacy is a culinary expert who is in private practice and gives lectures around South Florida. Stacy holds certifications in adult weight management and functional nutrition. She has graduated from the University of Delaware with a Bachelor's of Science and the Art Institute with a culinary certificate. Stacy was a guest on the Jim and Jade show and did monthly TV segments for the morning show on MY33, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Stacy is all about balance and moderation. Her motto is eat real food, which is a fabulous motto. And eating healthy doesn't have to be boring and just bacon and broccoli. She loves teaching her clients how to make food fun and delicious. And tonight we are going to talk about a really huge and important part of cancer survivorship and thrivership, all about food questions, food fears, dispelling nutrition myths during and after cancer. And Stacy, take it away.
Hey, how are you guys? Thank you so much for having me. So I love what I do. I became a dietitian, I think it's been 17 years ago. But what got me into food and nutrition was when I was 12 years old. My grandmother, rest her soul, love her, but she told me if you eat pasta, you'll lose weight. So at the age of 12, I listened and I took it to the extreme. So all I did was eat pasta and drink Crystal Light iced tea for 2 years, basically. I fought with my mom because my mom wanted me to eat vegetables and protein, but I knew better. So I never listened. And when I turned 16, we started noticing that my hair was falling out. So, and I had really bad stomach pains after everything I ate. So we went to doctor to figure out what was wrong with me. I mean, looking back, hindsight, it's it's a little bit obvious, but after going to an a functional medicine doctor, the first thing she asked me was, what do you eat? And when I told her pasta and Crystal Light iced tea, and that was it, basically she's like, oh, you're malnourished. That's why you're losing your hair. You don't have the protein and fats and the nutrients you need to keep your hair in your head. And, so at that age, I really learned that what you eat can affect every part of you, your skin, your hair, your nails, how you feel. And I also found out that I had a lot of food allergies to certain foods that aren't the common allergies, to red meat, to salmon, to snapper. So I really understood food and fell in love with the field of food and nutrition, and falling into working with people with cancer fell into my lap, and I fell in love with it. Just because I really can make a difference in someone's life while they're going through treatment and even after treatment, because during treatment, there's so many side effects that nutrition could help. Food could help with it. And after treatment, I think, is the most important thing, because after you go through all of that, the treatment, radiation, chemo, doctor's appointments, everyone's on top of you, like making sure you're okay. And then they tell you you're cancer free and we'll see you in a year. And it's like, well, now what? And you don't want the cancer to come back. So I feel nutrition is so important, because food can help, try to prevent reoccurrence. So what you eat is really important. So are we going to do like an interview? Do you want me to just go through the questions that we've had?
Yeah. Let's start with the common questions.
Yeah.
Like what to eat and not eat during and after cancer. And is there such a thing?
Yeah, so I think what not to eat, what to eat, all depends on your treatment too. But you really need to be safe with your food. So making sure everything is cleaned really well and cooked. Because that's one thing I hear from my clients, is that my doctor told me I can't eat raw fruits and vegetables during treatment, which is, I feel, an old way of thinking. I know that your white blood cell count could go down and you're more apt to get sick. However, if you wash and clean your vegetables really well before you eat it, you could still have it. So if you don't feel comfortable eating an apple, if you wanted to peel it, you could do that, or choose your foods with thicker skins, like your avocados, your bananas, your cantaloupes, anything like that. But you can eat raw fruits and vegetables during treatment. Even the only sushi, I would not, just because if there is any bacteria in it, sometimes you can't fight it off, and I don't want someone to get sick from sushi. So that's one thing I tell patients not to have. Also, be careful with things from a deli counter. So your deli meat, anything that's been sitting out, like your salads, macaroni salad, potato salad, anything that's been sitting out in a deli counter, I'd be really careful with, because you don't know how long it's been sitting out there, if they clean their hands, when they clean the slicer. So I would be really careful with that, especially if your white blood cell counts are very, very low. Your body just can't fight the infection. So those are some things I suggest not having during treatment.
Okay. So what would you suggest?
So sticking with your healthy foods, sticking with your fruits, your vegetables, if you are eating meats, doing your lean meats, focusing on your beans, your nuts, your seeds. Those are great sources of protein. Protein is so important during treatment. So just making sure that at every meal you're eating some sort of protein. You don't want to eat carbs by itself, just because carbs are sugar, and when it breaks down to sugar, it could raise your insulin level. So you really want to pair it with protein and fat so it doesn't raise your blood sugar as high. So having, some people like toast in the morning, pancakes, which are fine, but adding some maybe some nut butters to the toast, or having eggs and pancakes are a better choice just because you want protein at every meal. Eating your fruits and vegetables are fabulous. Just all the nutrients that you're getting from them. And there is no certain fruit and vegetable you should be eating. You know, people are like, well, what's the best one? They're all good for you for all different reasons. So sticking with your berries are great because they're low in the glycemic index. So your strawberries, your blueberries, even your melons are great. And if we're going to talk about like saving money, sticking to what's in season where you live, because that will help save money too. So just really focusing on your fruits and vegetables during treatment is beneficial.
Awesome. And of course, like the $1 million question we were just talking about earlier, does sugar cause cancer?
So yeah, that is like the $1 million question. I hear it every single day. If I don't, like, I don't know what's wrong with the world, but it doesn't cause cancer. But if we eat too much sugar, if it's from our cakes, our cookies, our candies, which give us no nutritional benefit anyway, sometimes that leads to obesity. And obesity, the more fat we have, the more estrogen we could produce. And if we do have breast cancer, that could really fuel the cancer. So it's not that sugar causes cancer, it's eating too much of it and the ripple effect that it has. You know, cookies, cakes, candies, yes, they're not fun. You know, once in a while to have a piece of cheesecake or a cookie, one food isn't going to make or break you or make the cancer come back or make it get worse. But we don't want to focus our diet on it. We want to try to limit the amount of added sugar that we're having to our diet because there's so much hidden sugar in our foods. It's insane. You know, I was looking at, I bought a box of broth, of vegetable broth, right? It has sugar in it. Like, it's just like, I don't think of it because if I make broth at home, I don't add sugar when I make it. But in the container, I mean, it adds up to little things that you don't realize have sugar in it. It might not be sweet, but they still add it to it. So it's crazy. And we want to aim for less than 25 grams a day of the added sugar.
So is there a difference between good sugar and bad sugar?
So, I mean, fruit is sugar. When you eat fruit, it breaks down because your carbohydrates are sugar. It's your sugar, your starch, your fiber, all considered carbs. So when you eat it, it breaks down to sugar. But those are good sugars for us, our fruits. We just don't want to do all the added sugars. I'm not a big fan of the artificial sweeteners either. If it's aspartame, Splenda, they're man-made, they're chemicals, they do more damage. So I would rather someone use a little bit of honey versus, because at least you get more of a nutritional benefit from honey than any of the other man-made things.
I hear you. So mainly what we're saying here is, just to sum up the whole sugar conversation, is it's not going to cause cancer. It can, if you overdo anything, make things worse. And or add on to other types of comorbidities, such as like obesity or diabetes or other things that put people more at risk for a cancer diagnosis. And when you do eat a sugary thing, moderate it and make sure that you are combining it with things that help to like moderate the effects of sugar, such as things with fiber in it, like your vegetables, like the skin of the fruit or whatnot. So,
And also too, like I know I've had some patients where they're going through treatment and the only thing that they want or they're enjoying is ice cream. I don't know why, but I always hear all I want to eat is ice cream. But I'm like, okay, let's take it and let's work with it and see how we can make it healthier. So yes, ice cream has sugar in it, but let's say we add some peanut butter to it or we add some fruit to it. Or make a smoothie with it and use it as a base, and you could add flax seeds and nut butters to it. So at least you're getting the ice cream, but you're making it more beneficial and more nutrients to it, more like we were saying, more protein, more fiber, so it doesn't raise your blood sugar as high just eating it by itself.
Yeah, and you can even throw in some extra greens in there, perhaps, just to hide. And all the sugar will hide that flavor for sure.
And I tell my caregivers all the time, I'm like, listen, don't tell your loved one that you're adding spinach to it or kale to it. Because once you hear it, then you're like, oh, that's disgusting. But if you don't know it's there, it's a little tip and trick. So for the caregivers, because they're so important in this, the caregivers are the ones usually cooking the meals for their loved one, so they need to be educated too, and they get frustrated because it's a battle. But I hear that they spend all this time cooking food, and then the patient says, okay, I want this, and then they make it, and then they don't want it anymore, or they don't eat a lot of it. So I'm like, okay, we can't get offended. Just small little meals throughout the day, just a bite. I'm okay with someone taking a bite of food, but you have to just do it more frequently so you have less pressure to eat so much at once. I know if I'm not feeling well, I don't want someone to shove a big plate of food in front of me and say, eat, eat, eat. Just from that could turn you off. So just a little at a time. Use baby plates. My favorite thing is using shot glasses because they're tiny. And if someone does it, they take a shot of the drink and they're like, oh, look, I finished it. They feel more accomplished and might want another sip. So it's better to just do a little at a time than giving someone a 16-ounce glass of a smoothie and say, here, drink it all. So it's kind of a mind game too, I think, is one of the biggest challenges.
Absolutely.
When we're talking about too, just one of the questions that we had prior to the show was the difference between processed sugar and fruit sugars and whatnot, because one of our viewers was very scared in the fact that any sugar was bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like we were saying before, your sugar from your fruit is more, you're eating it with other nutrients. So you're not eating it by itself. It's having fiber in it and it's having vitamins and minerals. So it is better for you than just adding a scoop of sugar to a cup of coffee or some tea or having a donut. There's no nutrients in that for you. So whatever you eat, you want it to be worthwhile and as many nutrients in it as possible.
Absolutely. Because you're already having a limited amount of space in there. And again, as you were saying, especially when you're going through treatment, your GI system is just not having it sometimes, and you cannot get enough in, or like a lot of food in there. So whatever you're putting in your mouth, you want it to be the most beneficial, the most nutrient dense foods that you can get in. So you just make the most of whatever food allotment space that you have for whatever day that is. Yeah. And so you don't want to fill it with something that's like empty calories and that's not nutritious and that's not going to be beneficial for you, just to keep your strength.
Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing, fatigue is one of the biggest things I hear. So, you're not feeling well, you're not eating. If you are having side effects, like you're going to be fatigued. So you need to get the nutrients in you. And yes, I understand if you're nauseous and toast is all that you want, or crackers, which is fine, but you need to just add a little bit of protein in there just to help, because it will help with you feeling fatigued and give you more energy. So that's why my biggest thing is just a little at a time.
Mm-hmm. One bite at a time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And what would be, so do we have any other questions surrounding sugars and whatnot? Mr. Nate.
Hi, Stacy. I have a question.
Sure.
It's kind of a question and a comment. My question was, or my comment first was that it's surprising how quickly sugar can add up, I think. Because just, I never heard that number 35 grams. It doesn't sound like much.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say 25?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Well, that
35 is for fiber, 25 is for sugars, less than 25.
Okay, so I put it to 25. So I put a scenario in my head really quick, and I went, okay, I have one Coke, it's not that bad, one candy bar, and a Starbucks in a day. And I added that up, and that's if there was nothing else during the day. I'm not saying that's all I eat, but no, I'm just saying if you have that in a day, that's 87 grams of sugar just there.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's just like, I had you have your normal Starbucks, and you had a candy bar for a snack, and just how easily it can happen.
Especially the sodas, I think, are when you actually, I hate Google, but we all use it. But if you Google and see how much sugar is actually in a soda, like what 60 grams looks like, what 75 grams of sugar looks like for one drink, it's incredible. Like when we're saying you need 25 in a day, one soda could finish you off plus another 2 days.
Yeah, so that's my follow-up question is that, are there good tools to be able to easily track what you are eating and or how much sugar is in stuff? Because I think you're just I was unaware of it. Not that I ate that every day, but I was unaware of it until I just wrote that down and looked it up, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. MyFitnessPal has an app, or Lose It is another app. They're free apps that you could always track. I know with working with me and my program, I use an app too with Practice Better, where you see, and it really wakes you up. Like, and I've done it too, like to write down what you're eating every day. And here I am, a dietitian. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, just to know your portion sizes, because we scoop this, we scoop that. And we guesstimate, like we guess how much of it we're really having, like what a half a cup of rice is or a cup of rice is. But if you take a day or two and really measure out what you're eating, and you could see what a half a cup of rice looks like, or a cup of rice, or what a half a cup of vegetables, it really opens your eyes a little bit to what a portion size is or what it should look like, because we don't know. We just use spoons and we put it on our plate, or we compare it to what we get at restaurants, and that's not portion. That's, I don't even know. That's way, way, way more than a portion. So yeah, I think those apps are great just so you could see what you're eating, and using the measuring cups, using a measuring spoon, just so you could start learning what the portion sizes are.
And that's not to say it's not to obsess about, but it's just it's interesting to see what it is, just to experiment with it and say, oh, this is what it actually looks like, but not be going crazy about it.
Yeah, I mean, you could use your hand as a guide. So like if you look at the palm of your hand, the palm, not the fingers too, that's about 3 to 4 ounces. If you look at your fist, that's about a cup. Your thumb is about a tablespoon. So it's a rough estimate of what portion size is. I don't like to obsess over it either. I think that it's awful, but I like to just look at the plate and do portions based on your plate. So you have a round plate. I like to tell people to use the smaller ones, like your salad plates versus your big dinner plates. But half of it should be your vegetables. A quarter of it should be your protein, a little bit of a carbs, and some fat. I know I said the F word, but fats are good for you too. I know. So having all of that on your plate it's easier than trying to obsess over a half a cup. So.
Yep. All right. So we talked about kind of like a general. Hello? Oh, there we go. So Eileen asks, what is your position on organic versus non-organic?
Yeah, so I mean, I like the Dirty Dozen list and the Clean 15 list. I mean, if you can't afford all organic and that's what you want to spend your money on, be my guest. But if you can't, look at the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 list because it'll tell you which ones are more that have more pesticides than others. So, for example, your bananas, your avocados, your oranges, your cantaloupes, save your money and buy regular. But apples, your peaches, those are the ones that are higher in pesticides and you would want to buy organic. But my biggest thing is I just want people to eat more fruits and vegetables. And if you can't afford organic, I'd rather you eat the strawberries. I'd rather you eat the grapes than obsessing over organic and conventional.
Yeah. And you could always wash them.
Yeah.
Wash them anyway and wash them really well. And that gets a majority of any lingering residue of the pesticides and other things that even on organic, there's organic, pesticides too. And so unless it says like 100% organic, there is going to be some lingering residue anyway. So definitely
Stacy, I have what's maybe a dumb question, but how do you wash it? Like, is it like you wash your hands for 20 seconds, you sing Yankee Doodle? Do you use any tools or anything to wash? I mean, I understand that when I wash an apple, I put it under and go like this, and then I'm done. So like, what would be appropriate?
Yeah, and they say, when I read the books, they say you can just wash with water and scrub it and you're okay. For me, I like vinegar and water. You could do vinegar and water to wash. They do have, I forgot that I have it in my kitchen, but there's like an organic spray that does wash, and you do see it. Like, it was amazing because you spray it, you let the fruits and vegetables soak, and I did see a lot of dirt on it that I probably wouldn't have, it wouldn't have come off, but vinegar and water is fine. You could do a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 cups of water to 1 cup of vinegar, or however much you want to use, and wash your fruits and vegetables that way.
Yeah. I usually just use soap and water as well. Or if I have salt water, like soak your veggies and then I just pour salt over it and then like wash it with the salt, throw a little bit of like a vegetable soap in it, and then wash all of that. And then that typically takes it away. Baking soda, I heard baking soda and water also is helpful for getting some off the residue as well.
Mm-hmm.
Many ways.
Yeah. But yeah, I get that question all the time about how to wash it. So never a dumb question.
So another question is, if someone wants to understand more on portion sizes, is there a good book you can learn from?
I can't think of any offhand.
Yeah.
I
like the dinner plate.
When I've gone to Barnes and Noble before, which is really interesting. Not going to Barnes and Noble, but there are those books that I've seen that's like, eat this, not that. This is the portion, not that portion. I forget who the author is, but I've seen like a couple different books like that is pretty like, ABC, like, you know, it's just very, very simple, very, very good out there. I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, I mean, the rule of thumb, I guess, is if you're going to eat fruits and vegetables, so a half a cup cooked and a cup raw. So you could use that as an estimate of a guide, about 3 to 4 ounces of meat that you want. But it all depends on too your size, your weight, all of that. But yeah, it all depends. And it's hard to know a portion. Like, just think of pasta when they're saying, okay, a half a cup of pasta and you have spaghetti. Like, how are you really going to measure it? I know in the back of the spoon you could put it in, but just you could do the weight to see how much it is. So those are other alternatives, but I really don't stress measuring out your food and all of that because it'll drive me crazy.
So Michelle asks, is there sugar or is there a sugar you recommend? I think you touched on it a little earlier.
Yeah.
Coconut sugar, white sugar, what's the healthiest choice? And
they're all sugar. It's not really healthier or not healthier. So
I think it's just moderation, right? So
yeah,
as long as you stick under that 25 gram mark in total, I think that you can have a little bit of any of it, and as long as you stay on that mark.
Yeah, and it's what you like, what taste you like too. I mean, if you're making, I don't know, like I'm thinking Thanksgiving, but like your sweet potato with the brown sugar, like brown sugar makes it, the molasses makes it. So to use white sugar, it's like, so it depends on what you're cooking too. But yeah, just cutting back on it. One of the biggest things I hear from clients is the coffee. People put so much sugar and creamer in their coffee. It's incredible. And that's an easy way to cut back. I mean, honestly, if we're going to talk honest here, we should be drinking coffee for the taste of the coffee, not the creamer, not the sugar, not everything we're adding to it. So just watching out for all the added sugar is. And even cutting back a little at a time. So let's just say you do drink coffee and you put 5 tablespoons of sugar in your coffee. You know, let's start tomorrow, do 4. And then a week later, do 3. You know, you might not taste the difference, you know, if you slowly decrease the amount versus doing 5 and then tomorrow morning think you're going to drink black coffee. I mean, you could, but you're so used to it with all that sugar in it. If you want to slowly decrease, it helps.
Yeah. And once you get the sugar out of your diet or minimize it, your taste buds change, or your ability to taste sweetness changes and enhances. And you can, the tomato that you're eating, last week, like now that you're off of your sugar or minimizing it, it's so much sweeter. It's like 10 times sweeter. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize a tomato can taste like this. You know?
Well, it's even like chocolate. Okay. Chocolate's fabulous. I mean, there's such a health benefit to dark chocolate, but if you're used to eating milk chocolate and then going to the dark chocolate, it's a shocker. But once you get to the point of eating dark chocolate and then you try to eat milk chocolate again, you don't know how you did it before because it's just so different and so sweet, and you get used to it. So it does take small little steps. You know, it's not tomorrow everything's going to change. I really do believe in the small little changes to help you reach your goals.
All right. Oh my goodness, the questions are coming in.
Yes.
How does eating all organic actually help a person in cancer treatment?
I don't think it does. I mean, you reduce the amount of pesticides in your diet, but I don't think it's going to help with treatment?
I think that it probably doesn't have necessarily a direct one-to-one effect.
Mhm.
However, what it does is it reduces the stress on your detox organs. So because you're trying to process so much medication, so like chemo is toxic, right? But sometimes you need it and you need to go through that process, but you want to give the rest of your body as much of a break as possible. So if you're putting in the cleanest foods that you can, you're giving your liver, you're giving your gut and like a break, right, from all the rest of the stuff that they have to process. So it just eases things a little bit more in your system and it makes things run a little smoother. Okay. Oh, this is a hard one. What do you tell your friends to bring you to eat when you're going through cancer?
One of my favorite things I tell patients and families to bring is soup, because I think it's very comforting and it's something that you could freeze and have in the future. And that's an easy way, once again, to sneak the vegetables in. So making a vegetable soup, a bean soup, stews, something like that, is something families could bring. I'm always into having family or friends, or even if the patient likes to cook, and freeze your meals. So at least you have it for the days that you don't feel well. At least you know there are healthy meals in the freezer. Because if you don't, and you're hungry and you don't feel well, either you're not going to eat or you're going to order out and have food delivered. And most likely it's not going to be the healthiest of choices. So yeah, when family and friends want to help, I tell my patients, have them cook for you, have stock up your freezer with meals, because it lasts. It's not going to go bad as long as
I had a really, really good friend who she came over and she brought like a month worth of the frozen air packed, that you could just literally cut and put in. And it was like mushroom soup and potato soup. And I had another friend who also, when I went through it, she did a whole thing of bone broth and jarred them up. I mean, those were just for the days that I didn't feel good or had a little tummy ache or something, but I still needed the good nutrients. It was really easy just to drink in the morning or in the afternoon and just literally quick heat up on the stove and whatnot. So yeah, soup is amazing. Who doesn't love soup?
Yeah.
In Minnesota and Wisconsin and the Midwest, sometimes a lot of people will bring casseroles or hot dishes. Like, they fill it up with a lot of like comforting. I love that you said comforting, but like there's this one hot dish that's like macaroni and it's not filled with cheese, but it's just macaroni with a base of like there's beans in it and some organic turkey, vegetables, and then a really light tomato sauce with it, which can go both ways. Because I know tomato sauce could maybe irritate some of the stomach and even like the esophagus, maybe even a little bit, depending on how if you have any acid reflux or whatnot. But definitely full of nutrients and healthy, and just elbow macaroni.
Yeah. Even frittatas are great, which are basically big egg omelets. And that's something easy to freeze. I like to make them in muffin tins because then it's portion sized out for me. And that's something you could add your vegetables to it. If you wanted to add beans to it, you could make all different kinds. But that's something too that's easy to freeze, to have the casseroles, anything like that.
Oh, these are great ideas. Even for like breakfast for people, like busy people on the go. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yep.
like freezing the frittatas. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and that's great too, especially if you like warmth, like if it's just room temperature, because you could take it out when you wake up, take your shower, get dressed, and by the time that you're ready to go, it's defrosted already. So you don't, it depends on you. You could heat it up or you could just eat it the way it is. It's not something you have to heat up. Because I know we're always in a rush and I see the breakfast question, you know, eating on the run, at least it's something there for you to have.
Yeah. And so the breakfast question, is it the most important meal? These are two questions, Nate. So let's address the breakfast question.
I think for certain people, it's the most important meal. I mean, for some people, they don't like breakfast, but they get their calories throughout the day. But if you are I'm not a big pusher to eat breakfast if you don't eat breakfast, but you get your calories in the rest of the day, I'm okay with it. But just making sure you're drinking enough water. And a gallon of water, it depends on who you are and your weight and your height. So not everyone needs that much water. But breakfast, if you are going to eat breakfast, just make sure that you have protein in your breakfast. So your carb, your protein, your fat. You don't want to just eat toast or a muffin and call that breakfast. Having some frittata with it, or eggs, or oatmeal mixed with a nut butter. So if you are a breakfast person, you just want to make sure you're eating a breakfast with protein and fat and not just carbs, because that's common. Like most people are, oh, I eat breakfast, I have tea and toast. And I'm like, okay, it's not really, it's breakfast, but there's nothing, it's carbs, like you're eating sugar.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not a huge breakfast pusher either, and that has changed throughout my practice. And I mean, I do intermittent fasting, so I don't eat till like 1, so 1 p.m. Yeah. So I've never been a breakfast person. But it was when I was forcing myself to eat breakfast, it was very difficult for me.
Yeah, like
so it really depends on the person.
You don't want to eat, like fine. Like who are we to say you need to eat breakfast? I mean, if you're a kid and you're going to school, yeah, you should eat before you go to school because you need to think and all of that. But just as you get older, I don't know. I used to be like, you have to eat breakfast, but now it's like, as long as you're getting your calories in throughout the day, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm a big breakfast person. I have to have my breakfast by 9 o'clock, like anywhere between 7 and 9 o'clock in the morning. I have to, because I notice with my body and this has been all of, for a long time, especially after cancer, I will start to get sick if I do not eat at that time. And obviously I've trained my body over time and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, I have to have that breakfast thing in the morning. Although I could eat breakfast all day, to be honest. So yeah.
See, I could go without breakfast. I'd rather eat lunch or dinner. I'm just not. The breakfast doesn't get me going. But that's the thing. Like everyone has to do what's right for them. And you see, there's 4 of us on this screen, and we have our different ways of eating, and there's no right or wrong. Like it's okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yep. Let's see. Shall we talk about?
We've got more questions in the chat here.
Yeah. I think the follow-up to this was that she's talking about organic chicken or protein. Mm-hmm. And talking about organic protein in general. Like is eating organic for proteins important or not because of the added hormones, antibiotics, things like that?
Yeah, I think you should, just you don't want the extra. I mean, some of the animals aren't getting, like they say it's antibiotic free and all of that, but they don't use them anyway. It's not allowed. But just remember too, the labeling laws are crazy here in the United States. We think like chicken. I know here we have a supermarket and they sell natural chicken for $2.99 a pound. But natural means nothing. Like there's no definition. It's just thrown on the label and people think, oh, and they assume that it's organic and it's better for you because it's natural. So you just want to be careful with the labeling laws too. But if you're going to eat chicken, you could buy the organic. And there are ways now to get it cheaper. You know, it doesn't have to be expensive. There are stores that sell it for not as much. I know down here we have Aldi's and BJ's and Costco where they do sell it for not an exorbitant amount of money when you're comparing.
Well, and if you're talking chicken too, I know like on certain farms in the Midwest, because I was raised in an organic valley, which is actually where Crop Organic Foods has their headquarters. And in order to have that organic chicken or that organic farm, it has to be certified. And there are people that go and they check the soil and they check the wind and they check everything with a fine-tooth comb, because to have an organic farm, to label it organic, it is that literally checkbox thing. Mm-hmm. So when you're dealing with Organic Valley Foods or Crop is the company name, and everything is organic, because it's very, very much certified that way. And they have farms all over the country, including Florida and California and in Maine, all over. So that's a good company. I know when you get that organic, seal of approval.
Yeah, or even doing the grass-fed beef, like making sure you're getting more natural. I know I have some clients where they live by farms and they know their farmer and they know what cow they're getting and they know the chicken that they're getting, which is a great way too, but not all of us are that lucky or
Yeah, absolutely. When I lived in Oregon, which I'm from Portland, but my uncle has a organic, well, not organic, excuse me. He raises grass-fed cows and cattle. So we used to get grass-fed beef from him, and we knew which cow it was and all of that jazz. So now that I'm in California, not so much.
We just want to cut down the amount of chicken and beef that we're eating. I'm not saying not eating it. We just want to watch how much of it that we eat.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember on that plate, right? The portion size, it's only a quarter of that plate. That's right. So what I tell my patients is if you're going to eat protein, like you need to eat protein, and just make sure that it's the cleanest as it can be, do what you can do.
Yep.
So another question from Nate, sodium.
Yes, we need to be careful with our sodium. We eat way too much of it because a lot of our processed foods are full of salt. They're full of it. Any of your box foods, your canned foods, especially your frozen foods, some of them, not all of them, it's the way to preserve things. So we really want to aim for 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. But most people get 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day. So we really want to cut back on it. It helps with, especially if you are going through treatment and you have edema or swelling, we want to cut back on our sodium, but we also want to eat some more potassium, and that helps, get rid of some of the fluid in our bodies. But yeah, salt is another hidden gem. It's the salt, the sugar, it's hidden in our foods. Read the labels. I'm telling you, like I said before about the broth, I never thought that there would be sugar in it, and there it is. So just reading the labels.
Yeah, with broths that you buy in the store, you can get a ton of salt in those broths. So I always look for not only the organic broth, but I also look for the low sodium broth, because even in the low sodium, it's still a higher range, but a lot less than the highest range, right?
Yeah.
And overdoing it yourself, if you have the time to do your own broth, of course, that's the best.
And back to the question about what your family and friends could bring you. Let them bring you broth. Let them make vegetable broth. Let them make you chicken broth. Just because, and it's, once again, it's something you could freeze. So it's something that you could use in the future. And yeah, it's great because I use broth all the time for my cooking. Everything has broth in it, just because it brings flavor to your food. You know, if you cook, let's just say quinoa, for example, to add water to it, what does water taste like? Nothing. But if you add vegetable broth to it, or coconut milk to it, or anything like that, now you're bringing more flavor to your food. I know I'm like going off on another tangent, but those are ways to flavor up your food without adding the salt. Like, you're flavoring it up without adding more salt to your food. You're adding it with flavor and herbs and spices. So yeah, being careful for your salt is important.
Okay. Is there a post-cancer treatment benefit to intermittent fasting in our opinion? Well, I will tackle that first because I think I brought up intermittent fasting. And post-cancer, I don't know, like, intermittent fasting isn't for everyone, but the reason why I do it, the reason why I have suggested it to some of my patients is because intermittent fasting can give your digestive system a break. So intermittent fasting is fasting for anywhere between like 14 to 18 hours, which seems like a pretty long time to go without food. So that's why not everyone can do that, but it does help to give your digestive system a break. It helps to improve that and stimulate your migrating motor complexes. So it helps that peristalsis through moving through your digestive system. So it helps you be regular. It helps to push things through your system. It helps your digestion actually digest and detox. And for some people, it really helps to control some of their weights, and it also helps with their insulin response as well. So you want to make sure that your body is sensitive to the insulin that is being produced, so that it can take in the sugar or that it needs to, like, run your cells. Like, your body uses sugar to burn as fuel, right? So when people talk about, insulin sensitivity, that means that your body is not taking in the fuel that it should be taking in. And so that's why you start getting diabetes and other things like that. So yes, it can be helpful for people. It can be helpful post-cancer treatment. It can be helpful during cancer treatment. It just depends on where you're at.
Well, and I think like just during cancer treatment, that's something definitely someone should always talk to their doctor about, because when you're going through so much treatment, some of your nutrients in your body, you might not be getting that. So doing something like intermittent fasting for someone who's currently in treatment, I mean, I don't know. I'm making an assumption based on what I know when I was in the chemo room at one time, is the fact that we've got to feed our body too. And hopefully we're feeding our bodies with the best nutrients possible. Mushrooms and cherries and bone broth and soups, and who knows, and a little piece of chocolate cake every now and then. You just got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do what makes you feel good in the moment, because we only have one life too, and to steal that little bit of happiness, if that cherry donut is going to give you a piece of happiness, so be it. The chemo is going to kill anything that's going in your body anyway. Why not? I mean, why not? But the apple and the almond butter and the, all the organic stuff that's out there. Tonight we will actually be posting. It'll be up by tomorrow, I promise our listeners. But we're going to be posting 3 different awesome upgraded recipes: a smoothie recipe, a frittata, and a muffin recipe, which if someone is going through cancer, you can send that off to them. And if Dr. Fung, Nate, or Stacy, if you want to also post one of your favorite recipes, we'll make sure that that is up on our Shays Warriors blog within 24 hours, and also with all of Stacy's information too.
I'll be the taster, so I'll be happy to try all of the foods and let you know.
The connoisseur right there.
Yeah. So, and of course, along the lines of like what diet is good for you, you have to let your healthcare team know, because everyone has to be on board, right? So, especially when you're going through your treatments, and it's not to say, you can't do any of these things. It's what is the best for you. And again, you have to let your healthcare, your health team know. Mm-hmm. That's just bottom line.
There are certain foods that maybe don't mesh with certain medications, like certain citrus foods or grapefruits or even avocados. Like when I was going through that, they're doing your weekly blood work. They're like, hey, what's going on in your liver here? Like, let's talk about this. What have you been eating? And then they just kind of go through that. And it's like, oh, I ate this. Oh, then that makes sense. That could have triggered this. So it is always making sure that your doctors know even what you are eating too. And sometimes drinking, alcohol can have an effect as well on liver enzymes and all of that. And it might not be so good for cancer treatment to be drinking alcohol too. But again, everything in moderation, and everybody is different, right?
Yeah, and I think too, working with a professional, a dietitian, or anyone in nutrition, I'm not bashing doctors, but they don't know a lot about nutrition. So tell them what you're doing, but you really want to work with a professional, because I have doctors who tell patients all the time that they should be going to McDonald's to get the calories in. So you have to trust your doctor, but really work with someone who understands diet too, and let your doctors know what you're doing. If you taking if someone recommended supplements, like you need to run that by your doctor before you do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially the supplements, because yes, there are supplements as a naturopathic doctor, I do prescribe supplements, but there are certainly several supplements and herbs that do interfere with certain chemos. So you can't just waltz down like a Sprouts aisle or like Whole Foods and oh, let me get this supplement. That'll make me feel better. And I'm like, oh, no, don't do that, please.
Yeah. I know a lot of people Google, and there's so many Facebook groups, not saying your Facebook group, but there's so many groups out there where people ask questions, and I know they want answers, but to trust Joe Schmo who's saying, well, you need to take this supplement, you need to be careful, because they don't know your history. They don't know the medications that you're on. Yes, it might have worked for their aunt, but you're not the same as their aunt. So you just really need to be careful with the information that you find too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We have one more question in the chat. It's from Nate, of course. What about not eating after X o'clock?
I think everyone's different. There's no rule of what time to eat, because you have people who wake up very late and go to sleep very late. So to tell someone that you can't eat after 8 o'clock, but they're not waking up until noon and they don't go to sleep till 3 in the morning, you know, you really need to look at the person, look at, you know, your lifestyle. I agree. You don't want to eat a big meal right before you go to sleep. So if you go to sleep at 9 o'clock, if that's your bedtime, and you really don't want to eat your meal, a big meal at 8 o'clock at night. So like for you, not to eat after 6 or 7 would be more reasonable, but you need to look at your history, what you do. Yeah, you just don't want to eat big before you go to sleep. It's just going to sit there. It's going to cause acid reflux and not make you feel good. So you do want to wait 2 to 3 hours after a meal to go to sleep.
Nice.
All right. Wow. I think we talked about a lot today.
Oh my God. So a plethora of information and so good. So good, right?
Absolutely.
This was so much fun. We didn't even get to some of the questions that we came up with.
But that's okay. That just means we have to come on again.
These are the big questions. Like these were, you know, what I constantly hear.
And you're all the way on the East Coast, right? You're in Florida right now. So it's pretty late at that time. So we are just so grateful you were able to tune in tonight and be with us and share with our community a little bit about what you do and your thoughts. And we are going to put it in the chat. It will be on the Shays Warriors blog as well. To get a hold of Stacy, if you want to follow her on IG, she is at Cancer Nutrition Coach. Correct, Stacy? Is that right?
Yeah, cancer.nutrition.coach. Yes.
Yep. And your website, if you want to just spiel that off.
It's flavorfullifestyle.com. And it's where you could find a little bit more about me. And on my Instagram, I post recipes, just different tips and tricks. But I'm all about the food and eating and enjoying it.
Aren't we all, right?
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Life's too short, man. I mean, we have to enjoy what we eat.
Definitely. Well, thank you for everyone for joining us tonight. Mark your calendars for the next Talk, Listen, and Share when it is on January 26th at our new time, 6 o'clock at night. We did 6 o'clock to make it a little easier for everyone to join in, except maybe on the East Coast. Sorry. Thank you. Our next Talk, Listen, Share is bring your mocktails. Why? Because we're going to be talking about dry January and the effects of alcohol and cancer. Until next time, thank you so much again, Stacy, for joining us, Dr. Fung, my amazing co-host, and Mr. Nate. We will see you in 2 weeks. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
And 1 sec.